Bailey's first day at Mala's school, first year at school series. Good morning, class, Miss said. Hope you all had a good weekend and are ready to tell the rest of the class about the fun weekend you had. Now, before we start talking about our weekend adventures, I have someone new to introduce to you today. At this point, Miss went to stand next to Bailey. Everyone, say hello to Bailey. The class together said, "Hello Bailey, welcome to our school." Miss continued, "He will be joining our class from today. Please make him feel welcome. You can get to know him better during the lunch break. Now back to our weekend. Who's going to go first?" All the children were very eager to share their stories and all put up their hands. "Okay, Nikhil, you can go first," Miss said. Nikhil held a picture of a car on a ferry and went to the front of the class.
I went on a weekend adventure with my family to a place called Wiseman's Ferry. My cousins came too. I love my cousins so much. We stayed at a beautiful cottage, went sightseeing and roasted marshmallows on a bonfire. After enjoying some yummy barbecue, the most fun part was when our car was ferried across on the water. We all sat in it while the man took us across on the ferry,
he said excitedly. Next, it was Mala's turn.
I went with my mom and dad to the zoo this weekend. We had a wonderful time feeding all the animals. We saw koalas, kangaroos, different types of birds, wombats, and many more animals. My favorite animal is the koala,
Mala said as she hugged a koala toy her mum and dad had bought her. "Thank you, Mala," Miss said. "What about you, Tommy? What did you do on the weekend?"
My family and I went to the beach to a place called Kalala, which is about 3 hours from Sydney,
said Tommy.
It was beautiful with clear blue water and plenty of room to run on the smooth brown sand. The part I loved the most was building sandcastles, burying mom and dad in the sand and collecting shells.
One by one, the children shared their stories of going to the shops, bowling, picnic in the backyard, movie night, visiting Macadamia Castle, and so much more. "Okay, everyone, it is break time. You can have your lunch outdoors today," Miss said. So the children took their lunch and walked out to the playground. At one point, Miss looked outside and noticed that Bailey was sitting all by himself. He looked sad. At that point, the bell rang and all the children came back into class. "Did you all enjoy your time outside?" Miss asked. "Yes, we did, Miss," they all replied. "What time is it?" Miss asked. "Story time!" they all shouted excitedly. "Okay, gather together," Miss said. Today's story is titled Adas the Possum. Once upon a time, there was a little brown possum called Adas. He loved playing outside with his 2 brothers and 1 sister. Possums play at night and sleep during the day. Their favorite game was to see who could find the most slugs and insects and eat them the fastest. Just when they were really getting into their game, they heard Mum call, "Come along, children. It's time to come inside and rest. It will be school in a few hours." So all the possums reluctantly went into their burrow, curled up, and fell asleep. That night, they woke up, got dressed into their school uniforms, and headed off to school. They spent the first lesson learning about different types of leaves, with the favorite being all about the eucalyptus leaf, which they loved to eat. After this lesson, they went outside to play. Just then, Miss Possum, the teacher, looked outside the window and saw how the other possums were mocking Adas. Nah, 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 you can't hang upside down like us, the other possums teased Adas. Miss Possum immediately went outside and beckoned them to come to her. They all swung down the tree and went to her. Now, children, your behavior towards Adas today was very disappointing. Can anyone tell me why? Miss Possum asked. Adas was standing quietly with tears in his eyes. Kyle the Possum bravely replied,
Miss, we were making fun of Adas because he could not hang from the tree with his tail because he does not have one. This was a mean thing to do and we were not very kind.
Miss replied, That's right, children. Just like you, Adas is special. He may not have a tail, but he is wonderfully made, just like each and every one of us. Some of us may not have tails, others may not be able to hear, walk, or talk. And we all are not the same color. Some of us are brown, while others are gray, black, or white. In spite of all these differences, we are all the same. So we must treat everyone kindly and not hurt each other with rude behavior. So what should you say to Adas? All the possums said together, We are sorry for teasing you, Adas, and making you cry. We will not do that again. Please forgive us. And they all gave Adas a hug. And that's the end of the story. So what lesson did we learn from the story, class? Miss asked. The children thought about it and then they looked at Bailey. Nikhil was the first to respond.
Miss, we were mean to Bailey during lunch. Nobody played with him and we did not make him feel welcome. Bailey is just like us. Even if he cannot walk, we are very sorry, Bailey. We will include you in our games from now on. That's right.
Mala added.
We are all wonderfully made and may look different, but we are all the same. It is important to be kind to one another every day, just like the lesson we learned during Kindness Week.
The children learned a valuable lesson and included Bailey in all their activities from that day on.
The end.